Welcome back to some professional Starcraft 2. I mean, I hesitate to say it, but man versus machine. Now, how do we know? Well, let me first introduce you. In the bottom left, the Terran pair with the blue pieces. It is Fuser, who is a former high-level pro player. He's still Grandmaster, a solid Terran. Some of you might know of him. Is he Italian? I want to say. I'm not 100%. But he plays on the European ladder, which becomes very relevant. Because recently, on the European ladder, and apparently GLHFing at the 45-second mark, recently DeepMind and their ALPHASTAR project, which you may know from earlier with their big show matches against Mana and TLO, announced that you could opt in to play it on the ladder. So, immediately every player assumed that every barcode was ALPHASTAR, but we have good reason to believe that indeed some players have played against ALPHASTAR, who's apparently solidly Grandmaster MMR and is playing as each race. So each race, essentially ALPHASTAR has a version or an account. And apparently, this is ALPHASTAR ZERG. Reasonably corroborated by players even better than myself. Now, if you remember the original ALPHASTAR matches, it only played Protoss and only Protoss versus Protoss. So the fact that it plays all 9 matchups now, essentially. Now, from what I understand, its Protoss is still its best, highest MMR on the ladder, from what people have stalked and find out. It plays under a barcode, so for those of you who played against ALPHASTAR on the EU ladder in Diamond, that was me. Probably wasn't ALPHASTAR. It even typed GLHF, might I point out, at the 45-second mark. And also, I got to give a yellow card to Fuser here for not responding in kind. A little bit of a weird time to GLHF, indeed, making it seem maybe more human. Maybe eventually it'll learn not to type to its opponent, and not GG, if it really wants to blend in with the European ladder. So Fuser, like I said, a capable Grandmaster player. And I believe this is around 5,600 MMR, which is... Oh, whoa, that was already... What is this? Honestly, I kind of want to look at the first-person perspective. I'm actually going to shift over to the first-person perspective of ALPHASTAR here now that the units are coming out. We're going to look at it, slash him, slash her, slash our eventual overlords, or literal overlords here. I don't know why I wasn't doing this from the start. It's obviously the best way to look. Some of the clicks are very odd so far. You can already see that. I wonder how much it learned from itself and how much it learns from its opponents. That's another interesting question. Yeah, a lot of this is... The creep tumor gets sniped out. So far, I gotta say, it does... Some things look a little weird, but... And remember, we have... Beyond a reasonable doubt. People, of course, the Twitch detectives, not the Twitch detectives, but actual learned people and pro gamers have corroborated which accounts ALPHASTAR is playing under. It seems to only play 50 games per race, per account. And then it stops at exactly 50, which is very odd. Especially for a human, where your average human only plays 5 games and then stops for 6 years and talks in Twitch chat. Still no creep tumor here. The Ling's gonna respond. A single queen out at the front, right now. Opting to expand on the high ground. The Overlords... Now, one thing I'm definitely noticing, the Overlords seem to be a little haphazard. So, apparently, DeepMind has given ALPHASTAR an APM limit. Like, an effective APM limit. And another statistic that's important to note that is screens per minute, aka how many... Because Cyril has about 60 screens per minute, which is on average once every second, looking at a different part of the map. So, the point is, with ALPHASTAR, as if you saw the original video, and now we see... What, already trying to dodge it. Must have learned that from Cyril. But the point is not to prove that an AI or a robot or an artificially created anything can be faster or stronger than a person. We already know that. A long time ago we established that. But can it be smarter? And that is either the intriguing, scary, or honestly a little philosophical question. But that's what we're trying to determine here. And that's why it is limited to, I believe it's similar to the APM of higher level pro gamers, like probably 400-ish, 60 screens per minute. It can't split at 7,000 APM. It's Marines, but it can target fire, for example. A battlecruiser comes in, Fuse are using, now this isn't a troll build, battlecruiser openers are legit. They're a real thing. And they're actually quite a struggle to deal with, as there are 8 roaches on the way for ALPHASTAR, which is a little curious. Upon seeing the battlecruiser, might be suspecting mech here. Not too much scouting. Overseers, Ravagers. I gotta say, Mr. Star, your creep spread, pretty lacking, pretty weak, especially considering how many queens. 7 queens at this stage of the game, but the drone count is still quite high. At this point, Jolin Roach Ravager, I'm interested to see how it responds to Cyclones. Because every Zerg player, human or otherwise, seems to have their own kind of unique response to the Hellclone style, the Hellion Cyclone. Because the thing about the Cyclones is that, also, by the way, it's a little creepy how much like a person it looks like. How many of you Diamond players will be like, oh, what just died? And look on the map and see the waning moments of the vision, but not really actually seeing anything. Oh, nice surround coming in here. But we see corrosive bile. I don't think we've seen a single corrosive bile. Is that okay? Are we actually going to see some dodging with Ravagers? Just all-inning here, essentially. There's some queens coming across the map. This is still a whole lot of roaches and Ravagers. The corrosive bile is being used, shooting itself in the face. A lot of damage being done. Ravagers eating the brunt of those corrosive bile. You gotta be real careful about that. So far, even more corrosive bile is coming through. You gotta be really careful with those things. More Ravagers being built at the front. Some of the hurt roaches essentially being regenerated via that method. Another command center going down. Brenda! The whole neighborhood, Brenda and the whole knitting crew are here. The queen all in. Down goes her command center. The battlecruisers are trying to hold the line, but the transfuses are there. Oh, but the queen's at the vet. There's still 2 tanks on the high ground. There's no high ground vision. Trying to get high ground vision is Alpha Zerg. Some hits coming through. The queen's gonna kill one of the battlecruisers. More corrosive bile's gonna knock down another tank. The queen's the backbone of the attack. And suddenly, Fuser is driven back into his main. It looks like he might be able to hold with these Cyclones, but... And the queens are a little distracted here, trying to kill command centers. But so far... Oh, more queens gonna be built. Some creep spread. Honestly, it's starting to get, puns intended, a little creepy how its creep spread is. Like... It's creep spreading. If I wasn't watching closely, there's only a few little micro things that look a little weird, and only because I know to look for them, right? Like, it just looks like a solid player playing. There are mistakes. There are definitely mistakes, but it is uncanny how much this looks like just a standard like Grandmaster Zerg. On top of the production, the creep spread's a little lacking. The micro isn't perfect, but the timing was good. The build was pretty standard. I am... Now, battlecruiser at the back. The attack will continue. And wow. Okay. It looks like Fuser's dead. And the Roach Ravager line continues. There's no direct counter to the battlecruisers, just relying on queens. This is something Cyril does pretty often. A lot of high-level Zergs. Hydras are kind of a half measure against battlecruisers. They're not a great counter. They can help you defend, but they're not like either corruptors or essentially just ignoring the battlecruisers. But honestly, the battlecruisers continue to get damaged now, though. Fuser's taking critical damage. He's desperately trying to hold on. All the Roaches and Ravagers are just heading across the map. And, like, okay, this looks like a player. I haven't... I'd have to go into... I made a mistake. I used the WCS overlay for this. I think I'm going to have to look at some more replays with the player overlay and see what control groups look like and all that. No GG, classic EU move. But Alpha Zerg takes a solid victory. And it's not like Fuser made a huge mistake. I don't. So what do you think? I know that it took a little bit to get into watching the game, but apparently it doesn't use control groups. Yeah, that's the biggest tell. There are a handful of players who don't use control groups at the highest level, but Florencio is essentially like ALPHASTAR if ALPHASTAR was trained to be a classical artist, and also gymnast, and also a human statue. I don't know. We're gonna call and a sewer mermaid. But so is this scary? Honestly, without the control groups, especially like if apparently since it doesn't use them. But besides that, the way the units are selected, the way the camera moves, or at least pseudo moves, would have fooled me. If you had not told me, if you like paid me to cast that game, because of course I wouldn't do it for free. Be like, I don't want random GM ZBT. But if you tell me just watch the Zerg and see what they're doing. And of course, the control groups are a deciding factor. I wouldn't have thought anything was weird. Like, that just looked like a solidly high-level Zerg. Like a Roach Ravager Queen all in, but that's definitely not out of the question. That's pretty common. But it's a little scary, a little exciting. You tell me. What do you think? I think I'll be looking at some more replays in the near future as well. Like, this might... I didn't come in with quite the right mindset, but still. What a game.